name is Adam Lenhart, and I want to spend just a few minutes today talking a little bit about some aspects of project operations. So we're going to go ahead and create a new project, build a work breakdown structure, a list of tasks, assign generic resources, and then go through a resource assignment process, and then do some time entry against the project. So you can see that we are in the active project view. And one of the things you'll notice right away is that project operations is built on the Dataverse. So the interface is very familiar if you use sales. And in fact, you may have been in sales to get to this point, although we're not talking about that today. You may have created a new opportunity for a customer, created a quote on that opportunity, and then from that point, we might go and create a new project, assign some generic resources, and then win the opportunity, and then go ahead and do the resource assignment and track time against that particular project. So you can see over here, we've got a list of all our tables. And then here in the middle, we've got a list of active projects. And it's from here that we're going to go ahead and create a new project. So I'm going to select new project and create a new project. And we'll just give it a generic name. You can give it a description. Obviously, you want to do it against a particular customer. So we're going to go ahead and select a customer. You can see some things are defaulting in, like the contracting unit. It's automatically and by default assigning me or my user as the project manager. There's some other fields in here that you can use. A lot of them are for reporting. For example, you can track overall project status. You can add some of your own comments. And we're going to go ahead and add an estimated start date. And we'll just say this is going to start next week. And then it's going to end, we'll say, at the end of the month. And then we'll go ahead and save that project. Once we save the project, we're going to move to some of these different tabs, and we're going to build what's called the work breakdown structure, or the list of tasks. So you can see here that we can go ahead and manually enter a list of tasks. So I'm going to just enter some generic task names here. You can see you can work right down the list, and then I'll show you what we can do with these tasks as we build this work breakdown structure. So let me build 6 tasks. And you can see that now that we have 6 tasks, we can go ahead and make these subtasks of the ones above, for example. So we'll go ahead and make task 2 a subtask. We'll go ahead and make 4 a subtask. And we'll go ahead and make 6 a subtask to 5. So you can see that you can nest and build these in a very elaborate way with multiple steps and multiple subtasks. The next thing we're going to do is give each one of these a start and finish date. So we'll say we're going to start this one here and end it here on the 6th. And this is all being, these hours are all being driven by the default calendar that you've got assigned for a user. So the next one, we're going to go ahead and make it for the next week. And then after that, we'll go ahead and make the next week. And you can see that the tasks above the subtasks are automatically defaulting to the dates that you've given for the subtasks below. So all that is defaulting in. Now, when we want to assign people to this, remember at this point, we're still talking with the customer. We've had an opportunity, we've had a quote, and from there, we're building a project to take back to them. And so what we're going to do at this point is show you a couple things about assigning. So you could go ahead and assign people to this, each one of these tasks. For example, myself, I can assign myself to a task. It's going to automatically calculate the effort for that task based on my calendar. And then the other thing you can do is go ahead and assign a generic resource. So this is you assigning a role or a generic resource, but not a person yet. So we'll go ahead and select that and assign a generic resource. We get a quick create screen over here on the right. And here we want to go ahead and we'll just select client coordinator here. And for the role, we need to assign someone who has the client coordinator role assigned to them. You can see the resourcing unit is defaulting in. So we'll go ahead and save and close that. So what we've done here is, rather than assign a named person like I did here, we're just assigning a generic resource or a role that we need to fill and resource assign later. So I'll go ahead in the next one. I'll just select a tax analyst and select that role, save that, and now we've assigned generic resources. So I want to show you a couple things here. If I go to team, you can see that we've now got those generic resources assigned. We've got a project manager assigned. That was me, the default. And then as we move on through, you'll see how some of these get filled in. We even have things like time-phased estimates. Once this gets saved and filled in, it's going to start showing us some time-phase estimates related to how much money. So you can see that's already starting to come in based on the tasks that I've assigned, the roles, and the fees associated with each one of those roles. So we'll go ahead and save that. Right now, again, other than the one, we don't have any resources assigned to that. So we'll go back to summary. And you can see now we've got some information that's starting to fill in, like the estimated labor cost and the estimated total cost is starting to fill in based on that information that I populated earlier. Now, at some point, we go back to the customer and we won the deal and we create a project contract, and then we start working on that project and we have to assign resources to that project. So we're going to go back to the team and we're going to select that particular generic resource and we're going to generate a requirement. So this is generating a specific requirement based on the need for a generic resource that we created earlier. So we'll go ahead and select this one and generate a requirement from that particular generic resource. And we get a message that says the resource requirement for the selected team member has been generated. There's a couple of different ways to assign resources. We can go ahead and book that resource right here. We do have a schedule board where we can assign, but we can do it in a more centralized way. If we go over here on the bottom left and select resources, we're going to go here and you can see, for example, the resources. These are all the people, but we can see the requirements. So we'll be able to see here the different requirements that we just generated. And those are what we need to fill and assign a particular individual to. So if we go into that particular requirement, we can see some information about it. And up here on the top toolbar, you'll see the opportunity to book it. So I'm going to go ahead and select book. And we'll change some filters here once we get this. So it's going to go through and search through the different resources that we have and search for different requirements. And you can see based on those filters, it's come up with 3 people who meet the requirements of that generic resource. So we'll go ahead and select Abraham and book him to that particular project. You can see over here, there's a couple. You can book them as hard status, proposed status, or soft. I'm going to book them hard. You can also double book if needed. So if you select yes, it'll double book that particular individual, and then select book and exit. And we've generated a resource against that particular requirement. So we'll go back and we'll select the next one, which is the tax analyst. And we'll go ahead and select book. And you can see a schedule board open up, and it's going to go through and look. And it's found 2 resources who have the role of tax analyst and are able to fill that particular requirement that we generated. So we'll go ahead and select Abby for this one. We'll do double book and we'll select book and exit. So now we've generated 2 requirements. We've assigned 2 people to those generic requirements. And if we go back to the project, and we'll just look for our February project, or our Feb project, and open that back up, and I go back to the team, you can see that now we've got Abby and Abraham assigned rather than just simply two generic resources. So there's a couple things you can do here. I just want to show you. We go back to the tasks, for example, and you can see again all the different assignments that are there. We've talked about the team. You can look at this in a couple different ways. So for example, I can look at it on a board where we can have buckets. If I go to a timeline, you're going to see each one of these broken out in a visual timeline. And the other thing you can do is create dependencies. So I can create a dependency from this particular requirement to that particular requirement and that particular requirement. And if you try to complete those without try to complete one of those without completing the one before it, then the system's going to go ahead and send you a warning and tell you that you have not yet completed the task before that. So you have some different options here. You're going to get some different charts that you can see. And then again, just quickly, if I go back to the time-phased estimates, you can see those numbers are there. And then once we start entering time, it'll start tracking against this particular project. So speaking of time, let's go do a time entry. If I go to do a time entry, so now the project is underway, some tasks have been completed, and I want to come in and create a new time entry. So I select new. We get a quick create form here. We're going to go ahead and select the project that we want to enter it against. We'll look for a task, and here's a task that's been completed. This is the role of project manager has completed this particular task, and we go ahead and save and close that. And once that time entry has been created, the individual can go ahead and submit that. And what they're doing is submitting that for approval. So I have another individual who can easily go ahead and approve that particular time entry. So you'll see multiple time entries here. There's also a web-based way for individuals to enter their time. And so the next thing I want to do is go to approvals. And when I select approvals, you'll see that that particular time entry that we just entered is there, and we can go ahead and approve that. And then that will start tracking against the project. So that completes our recording. We simply wanted to show you the ability to create a brand new project, create some generic resources against that project, assign some resources to that project, and then track against it using time entry. So thank you for spending a few minutes with me, and I hope this helped.